I was right. Earlier tonight, the Bengals defeated the Eagles, keeping their playoff hopes alive and guaranteeing that the Eagles have a top 10 pick. Or at least it seems very likely that the Eagles are going to get a top 10 pick. I mean, there's a chance that they're going to escape it. Doesn't seem likely. Anyways, that's not the point. The Bengals are still very much in the playoff hunt. And this week, we're only going to look at teams that are fighting for playoffs. There's only three games this week where neither team has any realistic chance of getting into the playoffs. So for this week, I'm still going to talk about every single game, but I'm only going to give predictions for the teams where playoffs are on the line. First of all, since it is Friday, we're only going to do the 1 o'clock games. And on the first one on our slate, we have the Packers at the Bears. And, well, both of these teams are currently in the playoffs for the moment. The Packers currently leading the division. The Bears, though, if they win, they could take the division. However, I just don't see that happening. The Bears, they have a great defense. They've been playing good football all season long. But injuries, inconsistent offense, I think the Packers should be able to take this one. I mean, yes, they're on the road, but Aaron Rodgers is one of the best QBs in the league right now. And the Bears just kind of seem like they're falling apart, just like they did last season. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them somehow slip out of the playoff race. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see them in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them just get knocked off at the very end of the season either. And then the second one, we have the Colts at the Texans. Since the Texans lost last week, the Colts now have a possibility of taking the division. And that's just an amazing story that I want to see. I doubt this will happen, but I am choosing the Colts to win just because the Texans' defense has not looked like the Texans' defense recently. And their offense, some against weaker defenses, they've been able to make up for it. But then you saw them against the Patriots, and they just couldn't compare. And it's hard to say for sure what their issue is. I mean, it started with Brian Cushing going down, and they've steadily gotten weaker since then. And right now, it just seems like anybody can throw up 50 against the Texans. And so I'm going with the Colts. And then you've got the Broncos at the Ravens. I mean, this is probably going to end up being a playoff game. I mean, both of these teams, the Broncos, they have their division title. They're going to be in the playoffs. The Ravens, however, they've been in control of the division all year long. But if they keep losing, they could potentially find themselves somehow getting knocked out of the playoffs. I doubt that would happen. I seriously doubt that's going to happen. But right now, I can't pick them to beat the Broncos. I mean, Peyton Manning's an amazing QB. They've got so many great players on that defense, and the Ravens have just been playing like shit. I mean, I'm just being honest here. They are not the dominant Ravens that I thought they would be coming into the season. Their defense is not scary. Their offense has never been relevant. I just don't trust them to beat a playoff-bound team, a potential Super Bowl champion in the Broncos. I mean, in my opinion right now, the Broncos and the Patriots are the only two teams that have any realistic chance of being in the Super Bowl. And so I've got to go with the Broncos to win this one. And then you have the Jaguars at the Dolphins. Technically, the Dolphins are long shots for the wild cards, but it's not going to happen because they have to win every single game, and they need like 5 teams above them to lose every single game. So I'm not even going to bother talking about this because that's not going to happen. Actually, I think with the Bengals winning I had to check because the Bengals winning might have taken the Dolphins out. Anyways, we're just not going to talk about them. Well, we are going to talk about the Redskins at the Browns, though. That technically the Browns are back in the playoff race. More importantly, though, the Redskins could potentially end up taking the division. I don't see it happening. It is a possibility, though. If they win out and just a couple other teams lose, there is potential that the Redskins could sneak into the playoffs. It depends on RG3's health, honestly. He had an injury, was taken out of the game, and I say if he plays, I don't think there's any way the Browns really stand a chance. However, if he doesn't play, I will easily go with the Browns to pull an upset. So yeah, this game is all about RG3. If he's healthy, then that's just too much for the Browns to handle. If he doesn't play, if he does miss, then Browns all the way. Vikings at the Rams. Both of these teams in the playoff hunt. The Rams, because they've been pulling out some victories, they're barely above 500 right now. But they've given the 49ers a run for their money a couple of times this season. And this is a team that is a long shot to get in. And I just don't think they're going to do enough against the Vikings. The Vikings, honestly, they haven't been that great a team this season. But they have enough playmakers. Jared Allen on defense, Adrian Peterson on offense. They're still in the playoff chase right now. And I fully expect them to beat the Rams. And you've also got the Buccaneers at the Saints. Saints, I think they're out of the playoffs right now. They've lost too many games, especially against playoff-bound teams that they need to beat anyways. Buccaneers, they're currently in the hunt, and they've got enough talent on that roster, but I think they're very young. The chemistry's still developing, and if they lose this week, that's pretty much the end of the season for them, in my opinion. And I'm actually picking the Saints to win just because they're in the Superdome. And the Buccaneers, they've just had a tough schedule lately, and they've started losing games. It's just the schedule didn't favor them for the month of November and December. Actually, no, mostly for December. November was pretty good, but these last couple of weeks were just tough on them. They started losing to some really good teams, and I just don't see them getting into the playoffs. And then you have two teams that are already in the playoffs. You have the Giants at the Falcons. Technically, the Giants aren't guaranteed to be in the playoffs right now, not from what I'm looking at. However, I doubt that they're going to fall off, unfortunately, because I did make that bet at the beginning of the season. Anyways, the Falcons, they've kind of been stumbling towards the finish line. They don't quite have everything locked up yet, but they are guaranteed a playoff spot. It's hard to say how well they will match up. The Giants, just based purely off of the way they played last week, and the fact that for some strange reason, Eli always seems to play better on the road, I'm having to go with the Giants here to upset the Falcons, and just having people wonder what exactly is going on. But yeah, whatever. Tune in tomorrow for the predictions for the 4:00 and the night games. Tune in Sunday. I might do fantasy football. I really don't know right now. We'll have to see how I'm feeling Sunday morning. Definitely tune in a few minutes from now, because right after this uploads, I'm gonna upload another one about. Let's see. Hold on, I gotta look at my script. Last week I did halfback of the year. This week I'm doing people that are nominated for receiver of the year. So tune in for that. I am your host, Nathan Lyle. This has been the Fan Perspective. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.